One take wine. I'm back. The hills are alive. You could say I'm doing hilly types of wines today. I don't know why. I felt like I could use a little breath of fresh air. Not really. But just happen to be the wines I've got on the go. So let's just jump right in. First wine. What do we got in the glass? A little bit darker color. Starting to break slightly around the edges, but not terribly so. On the nose, it's very reminds me of Mencia. Reminds me of a Mencia grape, but not 100%. Maybe Mencia Syrah blend. This has been open overnight. It's got Syrah and Mencia. Those two. The blueberry from Mencia, what I consider to be blueberry. From Mencia, and then the licorice, big time anise from Syrah. There's a lovely elegance to the tannins. They're very, very fine, and they structurally it's interesting because they start almost right from the start. The tannins come in quite early without being like an Italian wine where they can often overwhelm. They become part of the story right away. This is in the background but very present. Doesn't feel like a cool wine, but what do I know so much about this region? This is a very interesting wine. I think so anyway. It's Coteau de la Mort. La Mort. I guess the hills of death. The hillside of death. From Antoine Petitprez. I don't know so much about the producer. I think I've had him a couple times. And I've had, I thought they were Burgundies. And when I looked it up a little bit, then yeah, they must have been some Village Burgundies and stuff like that. But I don't really have any exact super recollection of the wines. This I bought because I was intrigued by, I think it's a 40% incline that these grapes are growing on. A little bit from the producer as well, I think he's a bit of a, I don't want to say nerd, but he's very, I don't know, he's a specialist, a grape specialist. He's brought in a lot of very important terroirs to help with, to consult. So, and apparently he takes some of the payment for those services back in grapes. I don't know so much about that story. I'm just relaying what I've read on the interwebs back to you. But if you Google a little further, you'll find out more about this producer. I was intrigued by this wine because, first of all, it's 2011. Isn't it? Yeah, 2011. So it has some age to it. I haven't had very many Mondeuse, which is the grape, or Savoie wines with some age to them. So I was very intrigued. And I must say that I'm also very impressed now too. I'm super happy with this purchase. This is an odd number. It's got the delicacy of Burgundy. It's got some of the flavors, the depth of maybe a good Northern Rhone, Shiraz, Syrah, and then it has the brightness of that fruit from Bierzo or somewhere like that, I suppose, somewhere where they use a lot of Mencia. And I love that combination. I think it's really, really good. It's interesting. It's also quite unique. It's not something that you're going to come across every day. I think it's elegant enough as well to sort of sit in some pretty important company and to make a statement, a fairly bold one. Yeah, of course it's not gonna take down a Latache or anything like that, but you know, I think it'd be a real nice ringer to bring into a Premier Cru Burgundy tasting. I think it would be. I think it might might surprise a few people. Well, in any case, it just deserves to be drunk and enjoyed on its own. That's all I'm going to say about that. You know, really, a really fantastic discovery. I don't know how you work those kinds of cliffs for grapes to make wine. I hope it's rewarding for them. All I can say is, if you ever do see this video, Antoine Petitprez, thumbs up. Wow, nice stuff. Second wine, I'm not too sure how hilly it is or not, but I wanted to not stray too far from the region, and I wanted to open this wine anyway because we have a lot of fridge, or a lot of cheese. We have a lot of fridge in our cheese. And we still have some lots of good cheeses in the fridge. So of course, Vin Jaune seemed to be the right call. And obviously I'm opening it and drinking it second because I don't want to destroy the red wine. It's a young one, 2015 Chateau Chalon. I've never heard of this producer, but I don't really know so much about this area. I do drink these wines because I like the sherry notes. I like the nuttiness of them. I find it attractive. I love Savagnin as a grape. I just do. I like the style, but I kind of understand why people might feel they're a little overpowering, or maybe not up their alley, or a little too much, especially when they start just early, when they're starting to early get into wine. But I think with time, and especially Vin too, the crowd, I think really love Chateau Chalon Vin Jaunes. I do too. This producer's Philippe Butin. Like I said, never heard of him. 14.5%. What do we got in the glass? Well, it's 2015, so that's fairly young. And I think the color sort of supports that. You know, how different are the notes going to be with Vin Jaune? Often we tend to be in the same flavor field here. First of all, very, very nutty, very hazelnutty. But because it's so young, there's a lovely, and I like young Vin Jaune, I have to say. There's two styles of Vin Jaune that I really like. Really young and really old. The ones in between are, well, I still love them, but I mean, I'm not sure I want to pay for them, you know. I like them really young when they're like this because there's a freshness to it. There's lemon acidity and all that kind of thing happening. And I like them really old, especially when they've held on to some acidity, lots of acidity. Not lots, but enough. And then they're surprisingly fresh and alive, but they've developed all of that crazy complexity that just takes you all over the place. No mushroom notes yet on this. No real complexity to it. A little bit more of that, like I say, lemon freshness and the nuttiness of it. But where it differs a little bit is it's got a great structure. It's a very lifted style of wine, so it's not taking a backseat to anybody, and it's only going to get better and better. This is built for the future, but if you were to drink them now, you know there's no shame because they're extremely elegant, you know, for this style of wine. I like it very much. I would buy this again. I don't think it was outrageous for the price, in terms of price quality ratios. So yeah, maybe it's a rebuy, maybe not. I don't know. I have to go back to that cheese store. There's a cheese I'm absolutely crazy about that I have to go and pick some more up of. And while I'm there, I might just indulge. Who knows? That's it for this time. Just those two. We got some more wines coming up, I'm sure. But until then, thanks for watching and stay thirsty.